Welcome to another edition of Pach-Attack. This week's question comes from Star Gamer. Pach, what direction do you think the pricing of video games will go for the next generation of consoles? Will we see a return to $40 games or price hike to $80 games? All right, there's only one direction for pricing. They're going to charge you as much as you're willing to pay. Pricing is solely based on what they can squeeze from the consumer. If the next generation of consoles are more sophisticated than the current generation, it is likely that the cost of production is going to go up. One thing we know for sure is the talent is getting paid more. So apologies to the Team Bondi guys who definitely got screwed, and I feel bad for them, and I made a mistake saying that they should quit whining. They were right to whine. You're still getting a lot of superstar developers. The Rockstar guys are paid very, very well. The BioWare guys are paid very, very well. The guys that are making this week's version of Call of Duty, whether that be Treyarch or Sledgehammer or Infinity Ward, are paid very, very well. So those costs get factored into game pricing as well. And I think you're going to see game prices go up, up, up. One thing I think you'll see some experimentation with is free to play with microtransactions, but I think the ultimate goal of that is going to be to extract even more money out of you. I think you will see a continued migration to games as a service. So you're going to see a lot more things like Call of Duty Elite. You heard it here first. When Bungie comes out with a game for Activision, Bungie's going to have a subscription service as well. It's going to happen because they can. And that's exactly the studio that you would expect that from, because they make immersive multiplayer experiences like Call of Duty. People love them. They're going to give you your money's worth, but expect that to happen. This week's next question comes from N.N. Somik. Hey, Pach, do you think there is a market for esport matches to be on TV? I do. You know, it's growing. I was pretty skeptical about this a year ago. You know, I compared it to women's basketball. I'd say it's kind of gone higher than women's basketball. It's probably up to like college baseball on TV now. So a limited audience, but getting better. I think that as more people actually participate in competitive gaming, and I think that the biggest driver for that is probably multiplayer online. I mean, the idea that you can play a single player game, and the only way you know if you did anything differently from your friends is if you talk about it, and you talk about, you know, what level you got to and how quickly you got there. Play multiplayer, you see real time if you suck or not, and you can level up, and you obviously are competing against people all the time. So I think competitive gaming is on the rise. I would say the market for this thing probably doubles every couple of years for the next 10. So yes, ever a market? Yeah, probably in the next 4 or 5 years. I don't think it's big enough yet to be on anything other than, you know, the occasional appearance on a Spike TV or something, or a G4 TV, but I think that, you know, probably in 4 to 10 years, you'll start seeing it on kind of all the time, and I think people will pay to watch. Our next question comes from Twitter, @Lufe. Hey, Pach, I've always been curious, how long does it take for a game to become out of print and no new copies are made? It's going to vary based on the popularity of the game. So, you know, as soon as the publisher perceives that no one wants to buy it, it's out of print. So games like Grand Theft Auto 3, I believe, are still in print on the PS2. And it will stay in print until Sony's never selling any PS2s again. But, you know, there are games from far more recent that go out of print after 2 or 3 years. I would bet that Tony Hawk, what was the one on the skateboard ride? Tony Hawk Ride, out of print. I don't think they're making those skateboards anymore. I'm pretty sure the Guitar Hero guitar kits, not in print anymore. Beatles Rock Band, probably not in print. So things that have kind of gone through their cycle and they're no longer in demand go away. Things that have high demand stick around. My guess is 3 years is probably the average. And again, it just doesn't make sense for the publisher to keep stamping out discs. Thank you, fellow babies, for joining us on this week's Pach-Attack. If you have questions, you can submit them by clicking the link below, or you can submit them to me directly on Twitter @MichaelPachter, and please copy @RohanLikesPants, because Rohan selects the questions. Thanks again.